Clark's rise to stardom was like something out of a Hollywood script. From her dominant days in high school to becoming a record-breaking college sensation, she was always ahead of the competition. But it wasn't just the stats, it was the way she played, the deep three-pointers, the flashy passes, the fiery competitive spirit. She wasn't just a great player, she was a show. The WNBA knew they had something special, but the question was, could they sustain it? The early signs were promising. Clark's WNBA debut was one of the most watched in league history. Every arena she visited saw a surge in ticket sales. The social media engagement around her name dwarfed even established superstars. She wasn't hitting shots at the same efficiency as in college. Defenders were more physical. Teams were game planning specifically to shut her down. But instead of patience, the conversation quickly shifted. Was she overrated? Was she a liability on defense? Could she handle the physicality of the WNBA? And then came the backlash. Other WNBA stars, tired of the non-stop Caitlin Clark coverage, started speaking out.
There's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Of course.
The fans who once cheered are now questioning. The media that once hyped her up is turning away, and the WNBA itself seems unsure how to handle the phenomenon they helped create. The numbers don't lie. Viewership trends are shifting, jersey sales have slowed, and headlines that once praised Clark's every achievement are now focusing on her struggles. She's no longer just the viral sensation. She has to prove year after year that she belongs at the top. The death of Caitlin Clark's popularity isn't about her disappearing from the conversation. It's about the moment when she stops being treated like an unstoppable force and starts being judged the way every other superstar is.
So you get the #1 pick this year, you would take Paige over Caitlin?
Absolutely. So she's the best player in basketball already. For the simple fact is she can pass.
Some felt disrespected by how the media ignored their contributions in favor of a rookie. Others took issue with how Clark's presence seemingly overshadowed the league itself. Therefore, instead of uniting behind the sport's biggest name, the league found itself divided. Others took issue with how Clark's presence seemingly overshadowed the league itself. Therefore, instead of uniting behind the sport's biggest name, the league found itself divided.
Just threes?
Wow. It's not just threes.
What is her style?
Plays like Caitlin's what I'm saying. From a female. Who do you think plays like her? Haven't seen a female play like her.
No, me either.
That's all I'm saying.
But I think it's like from a freedom standpoint too. I haven't seen a player with that type of green light before in college. I've had games in college and pro, 6, 7, 8 threes made out of 12, 11, 13, not 12.
Molly, you can't ask me a question.
Okay,
Molly, I'm answering your question.
Stephen A., I'm telling
Okay,
you know she's not going to be one of the starting five.
Did you be that idiotic and not make that call when throughout history, Team USA has been in part about marketing? It's dumb, period.
Marketing efforts, once centered around her, became more balanced across the league. Therefore, what once felt like a full-force movement behind Clark started to slow down. Clark's struggles weren't just limited to the court. Off the court, things became even more complicated. Every time she spoke, her words were dissected. Instead of rallying around her, the WNBA seemed hesitant to fully embrace Clark as their biggest star. Therefore, what once felt like a full-force movement behind Clark started to slow down. Others thought she was being unfairly targeted, but one thing was clear: Clark was no longer just a basketball player, she was a polarizing figure in sports media. But here's the twist: this doesn't mean Caitlin Clark is finished. It doesn't mean she won't still be a major star in the WNBA. Performance, not just potential. Therefore, her next season will be the ultimate test. Will she rise to the occasion and silence the critics, or will this be the moment where the sport moves on?
Here we go.
I know you like that.
Hell yeah.
The audience, once captivated by the hype, started looking elsewhere, and this is where things truly started falling apart. Instead of being positioned as the future of the WNBA, Clark found herself at the center of controversy. Clark's immediate impact came with growing pains. Opposing players weren't thrilled about the non-stop coverage she received. Coaches and analysts debated whether the hype was justified. But the biggest problem wasn't Clark herself. It was how the league and the media handled her rise. When Clark struggled early in her rookie season, the criticism came fast. The WNBA playoffs arrived, and for the first time in years, Caitlin Clark wasn't the center of attention. The headlines were focused on other stars making deep runs. The ratings, while still solid, weren't breaking records. Clark's presence no longer felt as dominant as it once was. And that's when the realization hit. The hype had finally peaked.
I believe eyeballs are going to tune in. People are going to be clamoring. Let me get my popcorn ready to see Caitlin Clark ride the bench.
No.
The answer's no.
Hold up. But time out. But first of all, it's 2 points to that. Number one, we don't know if she's going to ride the bench. That's number one.
Well,
and number
they're going to
two,
put out. They're going to.
Hold on.
The numbers don't lie. Viewership trends are shifting, jersey sales have slowed, and headlines that once praised Clark's every achievement are now focusing on her struggles. Therefore, the question has to be asked, is this the moment Caitlin Clark's reign over basketball starts to fade? But before we get to that answer, we need to go back and understand how she rose to the top in the first place. Instead of being positioned as the future of the WNBA, Clark found herself at the center of controversy. Debates raged about whether she deserved her All-Star votes. Some questioned if she was even the best rookie in her class. Even her biggest supporters had to acknowledge that the road ahead wasn't going to be as easy as expected. But what happened next caught everyone off guard. Performance, not just potential. Therefore, her next season will be the ultimate test. Will she rise to the occasion and silence the critics, or will this be the moment where the sport moves on? That is the question no one has an answer to yet. But one thing is certain, everyone will be watching.